Hello, beautiful people. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing amazing. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, today we will be learning how to transform complex sentences into simple and compound sentences. It's going to be a very detailed, the most detailed lesson available on the internet. I promise you this. Guys, this is the third part on transformation of sentences. If you haven't watched the first two parts on transformation of sentences, go watch those videos out. The links are in the description. All right, let's start the lesson now. All right, guys, so the very first thing you need to understand is, what does transformation of sentences mean? Like, before we do that, we must know what it means, right? So transformation of sentences is nothing but changing a form of a sentence into another, but the meaning should remain intact. The meaning should not change. So it's all about changing the form, the structure of a sentence into another without changing the meaning of the sentence. This is what transformation of sentences means. Okay, now we will be transforming complex sentences into simple and compound sentences. I hope you guys already know what is a simple sentence, what is a compound sentence, what is a complex sentence, but if you do not, let me just take you through these in brief. So what is a simple sentence? A simple sentence is nothing but an independent clause, a group of words that has a subject and a verb, and it talks about one idea. And it can be short, it can be long, it does not matter, right? And a simple sentence can have modifiers, can have modifying phrases. If you look at the third, fourth and fifth examples of simple sentences on your screen, you will see the sentences are starting with a modifying phrase, right? So a simple sentence, one independent clause, talks about only one idea. It can have modifiers. What is a compound sentence? A compound sentence has two independent clauses, two complete sentences, and these two independent clauses or sentences are joined by a coordinating conjunction. And guys, we have 7 coordinating conjunctions in English. These are for, and, nor, but, or, yet. So you have them on your screen. And one more thing you have to remember, before the coordinating conjunction, we have to use a comma. It's mandatory. You have to do it. Now, what is a complex sentence? A complex sentence is a combination of one independent clause, a sentence, and one dependent clause. Now, what is a dependent clause? It's nothing but a clause, a group of words that has a subject and a verb. But it does not give a clear meaning. It does not stand on its own because it is dependent on an independent clause. A dependent clause starts with a subordinating conjunction. Conjunctions like if, until, unless, when, because, since, as, and all the conjunctions that you see on your screen, right? So a complex sentence has one independent clause and one dependent clause. If it starts with an independent clause, we don't use a comma. But if a complex sentence starts with a dependent clause followed by an independent clause, we use a comma. So that's something we need to know. Now we've understood what is a simple sentence, what is a compound sentence, complex sentence. You can watch my lesson on these types of sentences in detail, right? But for now, we've understood what these are. Now let's talk about how to transform complex sentences into simple and compound. And guys, before we do that, let me also tell you, a dependent clause can be of 3 types. It can be a noun clause, a dependent clause that works as a noun. It can be an adjective clause, a dependent clause that works as an adjective, and also an adverb clause, a dependent clause that works as an adverb. Case number 1. We have a complex sentence where the dependent clause works as a noun. Okay, look at the first example. I know what your crime is, or I know what crime you've done. So it's a complex sentence. We have an independent clause, I know, complete sentence. It has a subject, I, it has a verb, no, complete sentence. What your crime is or what crime you've done, that's a dependent clause. Okay, what is the subordinating conjunction? Your crime is the subject of this clause and is the verb. Okay, now it's working as the object of the verb know. I know what your crime is. Let's change it into a simple sentence. Guys, we already know a simple sentence has one independent clause, so we somehow have to change these two clauses into one independent clause. And how are we going to do it? We are going to change this noun clause into a noun phrase. Let me show you how. I know your crime. I know your crime. It's a noun phrase, and this is a simple sentence. I know your crime. I know your crime. And guys, the sentence gives the same meaning. I know what your crime is. I know your crime. Both the sentences give the same meaning. Okay, so that's how we transformed it into a simple sentence. Another way to say the same is I am aware of your crime. I know can be replaced with I am aware of. I am aware of your crime. I know your crime. I am aware of your crime. I know what your crime is. All these sentences give the same meaning. We've just transformed the structure of the complex sentence. The sentence still gives the same meaning. So that's how we transformed it into a simple sentence. Let's transform it into a compound sentence. Now, in order to do that, guys, all we have to do is, I want you to understand this. All we really have to do this, we have to change this subordinating conjunction into a coordinating conjunction. That's all we have to do. And if we do that, we will have an independent clause. We already have one independent clause, and if we change the dependent clause, the other dependent clause, into an independent clause, we will have two independent clause, and that'll give us our compound sentence. Let's do it. So we've got two pieces of information: your crime, my knowledge of it. So I can say, you are a criminal and I know it, or I know that. Doesn't this sentence give the same meaning? Yes, it does. I know what your crime is. You are a criminal and I know it. Or you've done a crime and I know it. So we've changed it into a compound sentence, and the sentence still gives the same meaning as the complex sentence gives. Right? Let's look at the next example. He revealed what his secrets are. He revealed, independent clause, what his secrets are. Dependent clause starting with the subordinating conjunction. What his secrets is the subject, are is the verb. Hence we have a clause depending on an independent clause. Simple sentence. He revealed, can we change it into a phrase? Yes, we can. He revealed his secrets. Simple. He revealed his secrets. Compound sentence, two independent clauses. Change the subordinating conjunction into a coordinating conjunction. He had some secrets and he revealed them. He had some secrets and he revealed them. We have the same meaning. The sentence gives the same meaning, right? So guys, that is case number one, where the dependent clause is working as a noun. Case number two, here the dependent clause is going to work as an adjective. Let me show you some examples. I admire people that are self-motivated. I admire people, independent clause, complete sentence, that are self-motivated, dependent clause starting with a subordinating conjunction, that, it's working as the subject, are is the verb, self-motivated is the adjective. Okay. Now to change it into a simple sentence, all we have to do is we have to remove everything and we have to place this adjective before the noun it modifies. Very simple. I admire self-motivated people. Simple. Compound sentence. Some people are self-motivated and I admire them. Or there are some self-motivated people, or there are self-motivated people and I admire them. Simple. So we've used two pieces of information. I admiring some people and these people are self-motivated, and that's the pieces of information I used to transform it into a compound sentence. Next example. The car that is colored black is mine. Complex sentence. The car is mine, independent, that is colored black, dependent, modifying the subject. Simple sentence. Remove everything, use the adjective black and place it before the noun. The black car is mine. The black car is mine. Simple. Compound sentence. The car is black and it is mine. Simple. The car is black and it is mine. Okay. Or that car is black and it is mine. Simple. Okay. Next example. He is so weak that he cannot even walk properly. He is so weak that he cannot even walk properly. Again, he is so weak, independent, complete sentence, that he cannot even walk properly. Dependent clause starting with the subordinating conjunction, that he's the subject, can't even walk, phrasal verb. Okay. Now, when you have such a structure of a complex sentence, subject plus helping verb plus so plus adjective followed by a that adjective clause. Okay, you can change it into a simple sentence using to before the adjective and an infinitive phrase after it. Very simple, don't get confused. Look at the example. He is too weak to walk properly. Here you have to use the verb in the dependent clause. What is the verb? Walk. He is too weak to walk properly. That's all you have to do. Simple compound sentence. He is so weak and he can't even walk properly. He is so weak and he can't even walk properly. Two independent clauses. Okay, let me show you one more example where such is the structure. The job is so risky that no one will do it. The job is too risky to do. Do is the verb in the dependent clause. The job is too risky to do. Compound, the job is risky and no one will do it. Simple. So that's case number 2 where the dependent clause works as an adjective. Case number 3 where the dependent clause in the complex sentence works as an adverb. And you guys must know what is an adverb. An adverb basically talks about a verb, gives information about it, modifies it, can even modify an adverb or an adjective. That's a different story. Okay. Example number 1. He failed the exam though he studied hard, or he failed the exam even though he studied hard. The dependent clause is giving information about the main verb in the main clause. He failed the exam even after he studied hard, giving information about it, right? Now, when you have though or even though as a conjunction in a complex sentence, you can change it into a simple sentence using phrases like in spite of or even after. I told you that in the previous video. Let's do it. In spite of, here we have to use a gerund. In spite of studying hard, he failed the exam. Or even after studying hard, he failed the exam. All we did is we changed the dependent clause into a modifying phrase using in spite of or even after. And if you guys notice, we changed the form of the verb too. We're using a gerund here. In spite of studying hard, not studied. In spite of studying hard, even after studying hard. Okay. We can take the modifying phrase at the end of the sentence too. He failed the exam even after studying hard or in spite of studying hard. Compound sentence. He worked hard, yet he failed the exam. All we did here is we changed the subordinating conjunction into a coordinating conjunction. Yet is a coordinating conjunction. And it gives the same meaning. It comes in the beginning of a clause that gives the reason. So guys, always remember, when a dependent clause in a complex sentence starts with though or even though, it can easily be changed into a simple sentence using words like in spite of or even after. I just showed you that. And it can also be changed into a compound sentence by changing the subordinating conjunction into a coordinating conjunction. And what is that? Yet. I just showed you. Let me show you one more example of the same structure. Though he has everything in life, he is unhappy. The sentence is starting with the dependent clause. That is why we're using a comma after it. Though he has everything in life, comma, he is unhappy. Okay. Simple sentence. We know what to do. In spite of a gerund, in spite of having everything in life, present participle form of has, in spite of having everything in life, he is unhappy. Or even after having everything in life, he is unhappy. Gives the same meaning. Compound sentence, you know what to do. Yet, yes, you got it. He has everything in life, yet he is unhappy. Two independent clauses. Okay, now I have a task for you. Look at the example on the screen. Now you guys have to change it into a simple and a compound sentence. Pause the video, do it. I hope you guys have done it. I'll show you the answer at the end of the video as well. Okay, let's move to the next example. He left the job because he got bored, or he left the job as he got bored, or since he got bored. All because, as, and since are used as conjunctions to introduce a reason of an action. Okay. So we know it's a complex sentence. Let's change it into a simple sentence. How do we do it? Let me show you how. Being bored, he left the job. Being bored, it's a present participle phrase. Being is the present participle. Being bored, he left the company. He left the job. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is because of being bored or because of the boredom, he left the company. Simple, right? Compound sentence. You guys know what to do. We just have to change the subordinating conjunction into a coordinating conjunction. Let me show you how. He got bored, so he left the company. He got bored. This is the reason. Result, he left the company. So introduces the result. Okay. Or we can also say he left the company for he got bored. If you want to show the result first, then the reason, use the conjunction for, the coordinating conjunction for. He left the company, result, why? For he got bored. So we've got two independent clauses here. He got bored, he left the company, and so and for our coordinating conjunction. Easy? So guys, when complex sentences are formed using because or as or since, change them into simple sentences by changing the dependent clause into a modifying phrase. When the dependent clause works as an adverb, alright? We just did it. And you can change it into a compound sentence by changing the subordinating conjunction into so or for, a coordinating conjunction. So guys, that's all about the lesson today. I hope now you've learned how to transform complex sentences into simple and compound sentences. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, watching the video for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, press that bell icon so that every single time I publish a lesson, you get notified. And I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun. I love you all. Bye-bye.